blindness, okay? Because modern society is blind to the energy inputs that make our modern life possible, that make Music Festival possible. I'm gonna turn it over to Nate Hagens, y'all. Y'all, Nate Hagens. That's so funny to think about. Okay. Oh god, that sounds terrible. What on earth? Let's go ahead and do that.
Modern civilization looks impressive and invincible. Markets grow, planes fly, artificial intelligence has arrived. But something doesn't feel right. Beneath the surface, more vital signs are flashing red. There are lots of people working on cures, but we are mostly prescribing fixes without first diagnosing the underlying condition. The patient is now the fully coupled system of the global human economy and Earth's biosphere. The symptoms we're seeing and feeling do make sense once we zoom out and see how the whole system fits together. Most people narrowly believe money powers the world, but it's really energy. Animals were the first investors, spending some calories to gain more. This surplus energy built organisms, ecosystems, and eventually human cultures and this civilization. 2 centuries ago, we tapped the stored energy of ancient sunlight in the form of coal, oil, and gas. The oil in a single barrel combined with a machine can do around 5 years of human labor for mere pennies. Portable, concentrated, incredibly cheap magic. This fossil jackpot underpins the phenomenon of the carbon pulse, a one-time release of energy stored over geologic time. In under 200 years, we've burned what took millions to form. This wasn't a paycheck, it was a trust fund, with which we've been throwing a planet-wide party. When paired with machines, this huge energy surplus did wonders. Population, production, and profits all soared, powered by an invisible fossil army, a 500 billion human workers strong. But such power came with blind spots. Our culture confused the tiny cost of fossil energy with its enormous value and ignored the pollution impacts almost entirely. We built a global economy fully dependent on these 2 hidden subsidies, without acknowledging them, without even seeing them. We remain today energy blind, mistaking financial and technological growth for progress and forgetting what enabled and powered it all. In nature, complexity builds through flows of energy and materials. Forests, coral reefs, brains, all emerge from this dynamic. Human systems are no exception. Cities, economies, technologies, all self-organize as emergent structures powered by energy, shaped by matter. The pursuit of energy in nature creates patterns. A single starling follows 3 simple rules. Stay close to your neighbor, but not too close, and move towards the center. From these simple animal behaviors, a breathtaking shape, a murmuration, appears in the sky, fluid, unpredictable, and alive. This is emergence in nature. Emergence happens in the human world too. Billions of individuals, businesses, and nations each follow simple cultural rules. Seek profit, minimize cost, grow. All tethered to energy, materials, and ecosystem impact. The result? Global physical patterns no one designed, no one intended, and few are planning around. Zoom out far enough, and human civilization itself starts to look and act like a giant organism with its own metabolism. Data flows echo neural signals. Highways and shipping lanes function like veins and arteries, with gasoline and diesel as the blood. Fractal nodes in a global system, each year requiring a higher baseline metabolic requirement. What has emerged is something new, something massive, a globally synchronized economic superorganism, built from energy, machines, and billions of human decisions, driven both by biological and cultural incentives, a mindless, unplanning, energy-hungry superorganism. This superorganism isn't evil. It doesn't feel. It doesn't care about equity, ecology, or human well-being. It just optimizes for throughput, for scale, for more, even when more becomes the problem. There is no mastermind at the wheel, just billions of incentives aligned in the same direction toward extraction and consumption. We've inadvertently built a system that rewards material expansion, not wisdom, and we've outsourced our decision-making to markets and algorithms. As a result, in the past 30 years, we have consumed more energy and materials than all humans before us combined. Our current culture feels like it will continue forever, but infinite growth on a finite planet is not possible. No energy surplus, no economy, and technology on its own won't save us because it runs on the same fuel and has the same master. The superorganism cannot see what's coming. It doesn't anticipate, it only reacts. And the signals it reacts to, profits, prices, ignore the deeper long-term risks. So far, our collective response to limits has been to go deeper into ecological and biophysical debt. Buy now, pay later at a planetary scale. Buy now, pay later is now in full effect. When central banks print money, they are not printing oil, copper, or lithium. They're printing claims on them. We can double the money supply, but the fossil fuels, the forests, the metals, the orangutans, they haven't changed. The financial system assumes endless growth, but the physical world, both the sources and the sink, have limits. For over 2 centuries, growth has been our default, fueled by energy abundance and amplified by financial systems. But we're now hitting ecological, energetic, and social constraints. The cultural story of more is colliding with physical reality. What if more money doesn't help, but just accelerates our transmutation of non-renewable wealth into temporary income? The upslope of the carbon pulse brought growth and complexity. On the downslope, the inverse will happen. Less energy, less complexity, less more. A great simplification is not a maybe, it's a when. The economic superorganism is not something humans planned for, nor wanted. It is an emergent phenomenon of large numbers of social primates interacting with large energy surplus without a map. Downstream of aggregate behavior, as individuals, humans continue to seek the emotional states that served our ancestors, but we now live in a world of scale, speed, and stimulation they never faced. We're a species far out of context. But we're not just individuals, we're deeply social animals. Our values and behaviors adapt to our cultural environment. And culture can change, sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly. It is in our wiring to shift once the story shifts too. Here's the hopeful twist. The things that truly bring us joy and meaning are not tied to material consumption. Once our basic human needs are met, what fulfills us is ancient: connection, purpose, time in nature, being in service. Humans don't need endless growth to live rich, meaningful lives. So, what can we do as this superorganism reaches old age? Responses fall into 4 broad categories: policy, biophysical realism, planning for bending, not breaking in the Great Simplification; cultural, new stories, less hubris, more trust and social capital; community, mutual aid, local and regional food and supply chains, ecosystem repair; and personal, skills, mindset, connection, meaning. We can't easily steer or stop the economic superorganism, but we can see what comes next. Each of us can be the mitochondria in the cells of a different social organism being born in the not-too-distant future, in communities, in bioregions, in gatherings across the world. It's already happening. The stakes have never been higher for humans and for the biosphere. Power scales up: energy, money, control, hierarchy. Life scales deep: interconnection, regeneration, community. The future depends on which of these we feed. This isn't just a crisis, it is a rite of passage for Homo sapiens. The superorganism we are part of today is not our destiny as a species, but a fork in a long road. So start the conversation, build local resilience, consider being B+ in service of life. Join those shifting the story, participate in the coming great simplification. Thank you.